You're watching Fugitive RedEye, and welcome to another episode of RedEye Responds. Now, the person I'm responding to today is someone I never would have seen myself responding to, because it's one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. That being James Rolfe of Cinemassacre, better known as the Angry Video Game Nerd. And keep in mind, he is still one of my all-time favorite YouTubers. In fact, he's probably my favorite YouTuber if I were to have one. But his most recent video made absolutely no sense to me and had a lot of glaring issues, and I disagreed with many of the points he made, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So we'll be responding to his video, Top 10 Reasons Why Blu-ray Sucks, also known within the video itself as Top 10 Reasons Why DVD is Better Than Blu-ray. Although I'd say that second title is less accurate than the first one, because he does start by talking why DVD is better, but he kind of ends on the conclusion that streaming is better in general, which I disagree with personally. But we'll get to that here in a moment. So let's just jump right into it.
It's kind of a strange thing to say for somebody who surrounds himself with VHS tapes, but I'm kind of tired of physical media.
Tired of physical media? That is really strange, you're right. Who are you and what the hell have you done with the real James? No, I'm not going to be that, dramatic, but yeah, it is definitely strange for him to say.
But when it comes to watching stuff, streaming wins for convenience.
I'd agree. Streaming does win for convenience for the most part, but the problem is a lot of streaming services don't have what you're looking for, even though they have a lot. On top of that, they can just take stuff down at a moment's notice. And there's all these different companies that have their own streaming services, and they're not, inclusive. They're very different from each other. And everyone has to have their own, to the point where you're spending all sorts of money every month just to have all the fucking services you want.
My complaint with Blu-ray is that it came after DVD and should have been a whole lot better. And aside from better image quality and probably a whole checklist of technical advantages, it offered nothing new to impress me.
There's several things that I personally think make Blu-ray better. Number one, they don't scratch as easily. Number two, they have more capacity, so you can put more on them typically. And number three, as you so rightfully mentioned, they do have higher definition.
Well, here's my top 10 reasons Blu-ray is worse than DVD. Remember when DVDs had awesome menus? This goes to show what can get done when somebody thinks, hey, we have this new technology. We can make interactive menus.
Okay, yeah, sure. Blu-ray menus are nowhere near as interesting as some DVD menus were. But the thing is, some DVD menus were annoying, because it's like, just let me get to the fucking movie. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure James did a you-know-what's bullshit about DVDs, and one of his complaints were that the menus were too complicated. So this is like directly contradicting that.
Here, you go to pick an episode, wait for the animation, and then what is this? Every episode has their own screen with chapter selections. Who cares about chapters for a 20-minute TV show?
In addition, there are actually some Blu-rays that have interactive menus. They're just not as common as they used to be because it's a niche thing that nobody really cares about anymore.
Remember when DVDs were loaded with extras like documentaries, trailers, TV promos, commentaries, deleted scenes, and bloopers? Sure, Blu-rays had them too, but not as often.
I don't know, I've come across most Blu-rays have the extras. I don't know exactly what you're getting at here. I mean, yes, there are some bare-bones Blu-rays out there, but there was a lot of bare-bones DVDs, too. In fact, whenever something is released on both formats, the Blu-ray almost always has more bonus features than the DVD does.
Oversized cases. They overcompensated, for sure. With Blu-rays, it's always too little or too much. If you want that special edition with all the bonus features, you better be prepared because it ain't gonna fit on your shelf.
That's only, specific, collector's editions. A lot of special editions just have regular steelbooks. And there was quite a few big DVD cases back in the day, too. Sure, not as much, but hell, there were big-ass VHS cases. Remember those big-ass VHS cases they used to have, the big sleeves?
The simple invention that existed since the beginning of compact discs. CDs, DVDs, they all had the same thing. It was a circle that holds the disc. You push it, it releases. Done. What's so hard about that? But then Blu-ray came along and said, hey, let's complicate this. Let's make it a big pain in the ass. So they came up with all kinds of new ways to reinvent the wheel, like sleeves.
Most Blu-rays have that too. In fact, a lot of DVDs have these sleeve problems that you talk about too, as you'll see here that I'm showing you. So I'd say that it goes both ways. In fact, I'm not entirely sure what you're on about, because most Blu-rays have the same kind of holders as DVDs.
I have a PS3, which I strictly use for watching movies.
Keep in mind that PS3 comment, because that's where a lot of his issues are going to stem from, so let's continue with this argument.
Push the middle for pause and play, push the left for rewind, and the right for fast forward. It's very intuitive, and I love it. But then Blu-ray came along and messed it all up. Now, for most Blu-rays, not all of them, but for most of them, the middle circle does nothing. Now, if I want to pause, I have to press the dedicated pause button, and then to play again, I have to press the play button.
Okay, so first off, Blu-ray already existed when the PS3 came out. That was a big selling point for it to launch, is that it had a fucking Blu-ray player. Number two, that's a PS3 issue, most definitely, because on my Xbox One, when I'm watching Blu-rays on that, they're the same controls as they are with the DVDs. Same thing with my standalone player. It treats them exactly the same. I'm really not sure why you think that that's a common thing across everything. Again, that's just with your PS3.
To play this BD, which is a great abbreviation for Blu-ray disc, by the way, you must renew the encryption key. What the hell is an encryption key? I need to unlock a movie that I bought? Perform a system software update to renew the encryption key. No thanks.
Okay, again, this is exclusively a PS3 problem as far as I can tell, because both my Xbox One and my standalone player, which keep in mind, my standalone player has not been online once since I've owned it, and it has never had this issue with any Blu-ray I've ever popped into it. So again, this sounds like it's just a PS3 problem.
How do we get so casual about the idea of one company owning an entire format? Stop and think, nobody owned VHS.
Absolutely wrong. VHS was owned by JVC. And if I'm not mistaken, Betamax was actually owned by Sony. So you're wrong. Many formats are owned by, one company. And Blu-rays are no different than that. I think this argument is a moot point that does not work.
That's why we had the competitor HD DVD, which lost, but it was the first time in my life being aware that a format war was going on, which was basically just one big pissing contest.
I think that's every single format war ever, dude. Like, Xbox versus PlayStation in every generation. Sega versus Nintendo. All just one big pissing contest. I really don't see how you think that's the only format war that is.
Blu-ray is kind of a dumb name. Look at it, it's not even blue. And what's next, RedEye?
It's called Blu-ray because the laser that scans it, is blue. And DVDs were technically RedEye, so yeah, there's already RedEye. It's just not called that.
Sitting down and watching an entire movie from start to finish without having to stop is a luxury. When you got the time, it's great, but when you can't, you just gotta stop and come back to it later. On DVD, I rarely had a problem.
And I've never had a problem with it on any of my Blu-ray players.
It has a new feature called bookmarks. This feature varies depending on what movie it is and what studio released it. So you have these obnoxious colored buttons that in theory you're supposed to hit during the movie to leave a bookmark.
I had never heard of bookmarking until this video. I've seen those buttons on my Blu-ray player remote, but I had no idea what the fuck they were supposed to be for. So if anything, it sounds like it lets you set multiple bookmarks, which actually sounds better to me, instead of just the one when you turn the player back on. So this sounds like a positive to me. Like, you say you have issues with it, like, not working, but again, that sounds like it's a problem with your PS3, because I've never run into that issue on any of my players or consoles.
Number 1, commercials and trailers. Wow, this is nothing new. Every video format has had commercials and trailers in the beginning.
Yes, they have. And I don't feel like Blu-ray has an inordinately more amount. I think that you're just picking and choosing here. Because literally every DVD I've ever popped in have commercials, trailers, FBI disclosures, shit like that. Any MTV DVD I put in will not let me skip the MTV home video thing, which I've seen millions of times because it's on every set they have and plays every time you start it up. And again, those are DVDs, not Blu-rays.
That's a big win for streaming. Because on streaming, you click on it and it just starts.
Yeah, but streaming doesn't have bonus features, so it doesn't have one of your complaints. It doesn't have menus at all, so again, another one of your points is just thrown out the window there when you're praising streaming here.
I'm not even going to bother with 4K Ultra Blu-ray discs, at least not yet.
No, me either. I think that that's a waste of time.
Streaming is so convenient. Sometimes I'll even rent a movie on Amazon that I already own on DVD or Blu-ray, just so I don't have to go find it, put it in, and wait through all the commercials, FBI warnings, and trailers.
Dude, you are fucking loaded to be able to do that all the time. I mean, that sounds so ass backwards to me. But, I mean, I guess if you have the money for it, more power to you, man.
Certain things that could be better. First of all, browsing through Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, Disney Plus for one movie or program, like it could be searchable in an easier way.
See, that's the thing you're getting at here. All these different streaming services. You don't seem to have a problem with the fact that you're paying all this money per month for all these different services that, when you could just have one, or just have a marketplace or something. To have to pay for all these bullshit services, which are constantly switching back and forth with rights on stuff, is bullshit.
Like, depending on the device, I'd like to see better integration so you can search across all your different streaming services.
And the reason they're not searchable and integrated is because they're owned by different companies. They're all competing for each other, because it's also a great big pissing contest. So this is, in a way, a format war, even though it's all for the same format.
But it seems more often they keep taking movies and programs off of streaming services.
Exactly. That's a huge problem with streaming services.
My hopes would be that more streaming services include that type of bonus content.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
So streaming is not perfect, but I think it's better than physical media.
It's that comment where you say it's better than physical media that made me want to make this video in the first place, because I wholeheartedly disagree. Physical media, you buy it, you pop it in, it plays. Again, all these issues you're having is because you're using a PS3. With the trailers, I'm pretty sure you're exaggerating a little bit. Yeah, some trailers, some of them can be pretty unbearable, but DVDs were pretty much in the same league. But I do agree, trailers can be annoying, so I'm not going to completely dismiss that point, but there's all these reasons why physical is still better, and in my opinion, will always be better. Because if you own something digitally, you usually have to be connected to the internet. There's some things that'll let you download it, but again, that's not streaming either. That's, when you buy something on like Xbox Video or Amazon or something.
Unless you want to buy the Angry Nerd Blu-rays.
That's a nice plug. I'm sure that you did that. I'm sure that's intentional, that you put a plug for your Blu-ray at the end of a video shitting on Blu-rays. I do think that's mildly funny, but I also think it's kind of dumb. But yeah, ultimately, I love you, James Rolfe. You're probably my favorite YouTuber. You're a big inspiration, and I will still continue to support everything you do. But I disagree with you fundamentally on a lot of this video, so I just thought I'd get that out there. Anyway, this has been Fugitive RedEye. Have a great day.
I'm gonna fucking die here, Jack!